That's also fair. One other thing before we move on, because you guys mentioned it and it actually kind of caught my attention. Um, Looking at how the Sony verse has fallen off, why do you guys think that? Like, obviously, Spider-Man is was their strongest character, pretty much the only character they were rocking with. Then they started spinning off all of these things like Morbius, and then trying to potentially do Sinister Six without Spider-Man and all that other sort of thing. Why do you think that the Sonyverse has fallen as far as it has in recent years?
Mm,
Whoever wants to go first. Also,
I-
thank you
yeah.
to other Steve for 41 months. I did not get to say that earlier.
Um, well, I would say it's uh, most of them just like hubris. Really, they just oh yeah, Spider Man's that good, so I believe people will like these characters more than I don't know. Again, like I said, I mean the ego. They're it's because it's in the Spider Man universe that people will like gravitate to them, but it's like they're villains. Why would we gravitate to villains unless you give us like a story with Spider-Man in it that'll make a lot of sense. But uh, I really don't know, man. This is weird that they're doing this.
I you know, it's about money. It's always
Yeah.
about money. Sequels only are come about because how much the one beforehand makes. They don't
Hmm.
give a care if the movie's good or not. If it makes a lot of money, you're gonna get a sequel. And Spider-Man did make a lot of money. So they were like, let's try Venom because Venom is a popular character in the comic books. A lot of people like him, and Venom made a lot of money. So they greenlit a sequel and they said, let's try that again with was it Madam Web? I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
they were trying to
Madame Web. Yeah.
yeah, and then that didn't do anything, and that's probably why Craven got pushed back because we were supposed to have seen Craven already. I think that was supposed to come out
Yeah.
earlier this year. Then it was supposed
Yeah.
to come out like in December or something like that, and it's not coming out in December. At least I don't think it is. I
No.
think they put yeah, I think they pushed it back again. It's because it's only the money, and a
Yeah.
lot of these executives that's all they think about. And then unfortunately, and I get it because all of it's the business when they freaking are giving money to these places to make these movies, they want their money back and some. And when they do, they're going to say, let's do that again. And that's all they're thinking about. I don't even think most of these executives are into movies because they like movies. I don't think they care about how the movies are made. I don't think they care about uh, anything. Just as long as it returns, it makes their money. If it returns and makes their money, then they're gonna keep doing it. They're gonna keep pushing it out. They're gonna keep giving us stuff. So if we go see, like we didn't go see Madam Web, I still haven't seen it. I know it came out on Netflix like
Hmm.
a month after it was in the theaters, and I can watch it for free. And you know me, I usually give everything a chance. I've seen some very horrible movies, and I just haven't felt the need to sit down and watch Madam Web yet. And then maybe I will do it, maybe I won't. Who knows? But no, I'm probably gonna watch it eventually. But it's
Hmm.
because of the money, the money, the money, the money, and we're gonna keep seeing that. So while Marvel is doing something not just because of money, because it is making money, but they have a plan. Kevin Feige loves comic books and movies. He was,
Hmm.
producing and stuff for, Sony and all that stuff back then. He's always been around. He's trying to make these things come to life and be something that we can all be, great. And now Sony thought they could do that, but they're just seeing dollar signs when the movies are making money. So, and YouTube should be good now. Just so you know.
Yep, apologize for that. Apologize for that. YouTube has had some connection issues. My fault on that one. Uh, Bringing up one thing Guanaman said in the chat, he said he thinks that Sony's done after this. He thinks that they're just going to produce Spider-Man and basically work with the MCU from this point forward. Which who knows? Maybe that's what they'll do. But they can just sit back and collect checks because obviously the creativity is not on their side. But let's move on to the main topic for tonight. We're going to be talking about One Piece. It's been around for a long time. Actually, a couple of days ago was the 25th anniversary of One Piece. The first episode that aired back October 20th, 1999. So we've been, this series has been around for, and Dido knows this better than I do, well over 1,000 episodes. They recently released a a kind of almost like a standalone episode in a sense. It's based on one of the novels, but it's as well, and essentially kind of tells the story of a character that's just kind of on the outside in the universe, but on the outside of the major and main event. So it's actually a really, really fun episode, really good piece to check out. But this essentially is going to be the last animated One Piece we get for, I believe, about a 6 month bit of time. And this is the
Yeah.
first time that the manga and the animation or the anime has been on hiatus at the same time. So, you guys, what are your thoughts on that? I guess we're gonna start with Dido because obviously you have more connection to One Piece because you introduced pretty much a lot of the group to One Piece. So I'm gonna let you start off with that.
Well, so One Piece is one of my favorite anime, and I don't really have the favorite, but it's something that I quite enjoy. And yeah, I've been watching it not since 1999 because 1999, that's when I was still like in the beginning phase. I mean, I was still pretty, had a lot of experience watching certain anime, but getting fan subs were not something that we got pretty easy. And One Piece was definitely not one of them. But I think I started watching One Piece probably around 2002, 2003 ish. I'm not 100% sure because I started seeing online fan subs. Like it was easier to get stuff online than trying to track down a VHS tape of which somebody recorded in Japan, shipped over here with the commercials usually, and somebody fan subbing it. That was easier done on the internet. So I've been watching it for a very long time. But when it comes to One Piece, because it's a weekly show, it's been on for 25 years, as you say, I give myself hiatuses. So this right here doesn't bother me at all. There have been times where, like, all right, I watched enough. Let me stop. Let me build up a bunch of episodes, watch some other stuff, and come back to it. And I was doing that for a few years where I was like, oh, yeah, I got to get back into One Piece. Oh, yeah, they got enough episodes for me to ride me for a while. So for me, it's not going to hurt me at all that I don't have any One Piece, because if you see my Crunchyroll list is pretty gosh darn deep, and there's a lot of stuff that I just put on there that I started watching, stuff that I need to finish watching that I haven't finished watching. So I look forward to that, and I hear that the reason why Oda-san decided to put it on hiatus is because he's going to focus on the live action, and the live action is also good. And when somebody who created, the manga and has his foot in with the anime and the manga, and they wanted to do a live action, and he says, you know what, I'm going to oversee this stuff to make sure they do my stuff right. They're not going to take my stuff and screw it up like so many live action anime that I've seen, so many live action shows based on anime that I personally like, what the hell what did they do? Like, One Piece was not that. I felt like I was like they did. I think they did it justice. So if we're gonna get a good quality product out of a hiatus, I'm all for it. And again, it allows me to watch other stuff. I know a lot of people, they don't watch One Piece because, oh my gosh, there's too many episodes. Well, guess what, people? They're reanimating One Piece, and they're gonna put that on Netflix supposedly before One Piece is finished, and it's going to be way shorter. So I don't want to hear any excuses. Even though most of the excuses is they've been doing this for 20 years and blah, blah, blah. They still haven't found a One Piece. And I go like, what did you expect? You expect the first episode is like, hey, Gold Roger says you want to find the One Piece, you can go find it. And then the next episode, hey, we found it. You're done. Like, get the fuck out of here. Let them, they're telling a story. And it's not just a story of point A to point B. There is characters upon characters and storylines and things that are going on over here that's going on over here that, come together over here later on. It is fucking great storytelling. And I won't say it's a shame if you missed out. You missed out. Too bad for you. I watched it and I loved it. And people who watch it and enjoy it, I'm happy that we do.
That's fair. Obviously, it's hilarious to think that my man is taking a break from One Piece to go work on One Piece, essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's again, he created it. He has a love for it. Simon says, "How much of One Piece have you watched any of One Piece?" I guess is the first question,
Yeah, I mean, I stopped
because
last
obviously
time.
you've heard of it.
Yeah. I stopped around I want to say the Mermaid Saga. That's the last episodes that I've seen from One Piece. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's long. The people that I just lost interest in it. I just didn't really felt the. I had other animes I was watching, so I just didn't really think about going back to it, it just like wasn't like on the list of animes that I wanted to watch. Seeing I had like Dio said he's like a ton of like backlog animes and Crunchyroll. I had the same thing. Um, then I've been watching also other things happen, life in general too. So
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I just like I said, I enjoyed it from the time that I watched it. I mean, I actually binged like I want to say like 20 episodes like in one night. So
Woo!
it's like yeah, this was like a long time ago. I was like, yeah, no, I'm dead serious. I like what I literally like stayed up from early morning to all to like I literally did a whole one nighter in like one day watching One Piece. And my mom was like, "You still up?" I was like, "Yep." So
Yeah.
what are you watching? I was like, "I'm watching One Piece." You know how those anime characters get where they have them eyes bloodshot and you watch shit
Yeah.
like so long. That was me. I was like, my eyes was like bugged out. I was like, I've been watching One Piece for about 24 hours. That's, that's that was like, man, that was one of the one times I did something like that.
We got Preem saying he's taking
All right, Preem is saying that he's thinking that he's taking a break due to health issues.
It was that
Yeah,
was that
health
clarified
issues
that he
allow the English dub to catch up to the original sub in order to then do a simulcast. I mean, that's a good question, whether or not. I mean, because obviously it sounds like there's a mixture, maybe a mixture of all of those things. But if it's health issues, he's going right over to work on the live action one, though. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
mm-hmm.
Um, let's say, hold up, another part to it. Also believe, Oda's editor mentioned that he was focusing on the final preparations for the ending, since the manga and the anime and the final side. Oh, okay. So
Hmm.
he's also potentially finding ways to wrap up his story at the same time, which I mean, after 25 years, you definitely want to do it right. You don't want to go out with a whimper,
Mm-hmm.
oh fuck
especially,
no.
it's been going this strong and it's been, which is added off. Go ahead, Donna.
No, I was just gonna say, dude, could you imagine that right there is what I hope, because I think that could be something that he fears as well, and I hope it's not the case at all. Because could you imagine, the backlash if it's a whimper?
Mm-hmm.
People were definitely like,
I
I mean, he
spend
already got his money,
yeah,
but
but like
still,
but you think about fans be like, man, I spent like 25 years watching this shit, and the end was like garbage. Can you
yeah.
imagine?
I being the person who like to as Mad TV used to say lower expectations. I like to
Mm-hmm.
try to keep my expectations as low as I can so I don't feel disappointed based on something that I put on up here, because I need to watch it and enjoy for what it is, not go off of, well, it wasn't like what was up here. So I personally will like try to keep my expectations low. That I can't speak for anybody else. I won't speak for anybody else because again,
Mm-hmm.
they can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
But I don't. I haven't been disappointed with One Piece at the moment. I mean, I've seen and I'm not ashamed to say that it was the first anime I ever cried to. Like I literally tears streaming down my fucking face because you can feel the emotion, and they're animated fucking characters, but I still felt the emotion when when a certain thing happened. One of the crew, and I use crew, in parentheses, but they thought of it as like a crew basically uh, died, and they had to, let it. It was just wild. And there was other times where you just shocked, like, what the fuck? How the fuck? And that's something I can't wait to see in a live action, how they're going to pull some of this stuff off. Is it still going to be able to portray the same emotion, get you to tug on your heartstrings in certain ways? That's what I want to know. Cause like certain characters also die in front of other people and you're like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck? And then there's a lot.
That's fair. One other thing, touching on that, because you did mention, the emotional connection you get with these characters, especially now. Granted, like you said, you hadn't been watching it for 25 years straight, but you have been with these characters through about 1,000 episodes, basically,
Yeah,
which still represents years upon years of experience with these different characters and that sort of thing. So, and very much like the MCU, how a lot of people, obviously, with Endgame and Infinity War, the emotional attachments they've developed with these characters that we've been watching over all these years. So, do you think the live action is going to have an opportunity to maybe have that same type of connection? Because, I mean, granted, it's the same characters. Now, you in some of these instances are going to know what's going to happen to them because they're even possibly retelling stories that have happened in the manga, happened in the anime. Do you think we're going to be able to get that same emotional connection with the TV show?
that's what I'm saying. I really do hope they do that. I really hope they bring it into it because, like, there's certain characters who got into some really, you know, uh, you know, big time arguments where, like, not even arguments, it's a straight up fight, that happened. Are they going to be able to portray that in a live action like they did in the anime? Like when certain characters get killed, are they going to be able to portray that? When they hear about the news for stuff, when like there was a 2 year time skip in the anime, and the way the time skip happened was
Mhm.
fucking crushing to one of the characters, and I just want to know. I personally want to know if they're going to be able to do that, and it's something we're gonna have to see because the first season of the anime season, if you want to call it, the first, what do you call it, storyline, I guess, and the first season of the live action kind of coincide. There's a little truncated in the live action. They didn't do everything 100% because it would have been, of course, very long, and they shortened some stuff up. But the way they shortened it, it made sense and it worked. Um, Again, we're just gonna have to see, and I hope that the live action actors understand what's ahead of them in that aspect because I'd have to assume that they have sat down and either read the manga or watched the anime to see it, and if they can bring those characters, they can emote like they were able to in the freaking anime. I mean, everything would be great.
So that means the character that plays Nami is going to get some enhancements then.
I wonder, and I heard a rumor about that. That the reason why that happened is because they did like a live action stage play, I believe it was, of
Mhm.
One Piece, and the actress of that was a little bit more bustier than the anime character, and Oda fell in love with that actress and eventually married her and started drawing Nami like how she is proportioned. So that's how that happened. At least
Mhm.
that's what I've been told.
So the man manifested his dream girl, ended up meeting her basically, and then married her and and they kept her going in his anime. That's hilarious.
That's what I've been told. So we're definitely gonna have to see again. Like
That's funny.
yeah, art imitates life, imitates art. Especially like you said, he manifested that shit. He made her appear like, oh, yep, that's who I want. That's my Nami, and now you're my Nami. So yeah,
That's funny.
yeah,
All right. Well, before we close this one out, let's talk about obviously One Piece being probably the longest running of the modern era. Obviously, we've had shows like Naruto, we've had
Mhm.
shows like Dragon Ball, we've had shows like Gundam, which all had pretty hefty episode counts, but
Mhm.
none really, in my estimation, line up to the episode count of One Piece, and also the sense that One Piece isn't a series that's like
Mhm.
you got Mobile Suit Gundam and then Gundam Wing and all the various versions of Gundam and then
Mhm.
Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT and Super, and then
Mhm.
Naruto and then Boruto. Like you, One Piece is just One Piece, straight
hmm
up,
Mhm.
all 1,000 episodes. Like you said, it's broken up into some sagas and that sort of thing, but it's still One Piece. What do you guys think? I mean, do you think anything else is going to be created that's going to maybe even live up to that type of just look one solid saga with all of these crazy amounts of episodes.
I mean, there are other anime. They're just not as popular because I think Detective Conan has
Yeah,
it
they're,
has a lot of episodes as well,
I
but
think
it
they're on.
doesn't have the
I think they're on 1,000. I think. Aren't
yeah.
they on 1,000?
I think it has about a close to, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's ever going to be on the same scale as One Piece. They're
Mm-hmm.
probably, I mean, will never be. I know they call the big three because they are the most selling uh, anime of like all time, and it's going to be
Yeah.
a very hard. Because I didn't realize how much Naruto and Bleach. So I knew how much One Piece did, but Naruto and Bleach was also big, and apparently nothing has touched those three just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Doraemon is also another one, but Doraemon is more like literally like a kids
Mm-hmm.
anime. So like, but they're just not on the level. They got as many episodes, but they're not on the level. So
I mean, they're most kids anime or stuff like that are do go for long periods of time because like kids sit your kid down and watch it and just like do your own thing, do your adulting things.
yeah, exactly. Just sit them in front of the TV and let the TV raise them, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, boop, 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 almost lost my Corvette.
Ooh, don't do that.
The
Hand of
Cor-
Omega was asking what was the I guess the what was the series, the long running series before saying I'm bringing up Fist of the North Star. I mean that's actually a
Kind
good
of.
question. I
I
mean with
think
when it
it
comes
was.
down to anime, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think I want to say it was because like I
So
watched the series.
Fist had it.
No, no, yeah, I have it in my queue in Crunchyroll and watching it. I mean, it does break it down in the series, but it was like kind of like a long series all the way. I don't want to say it took a break, but I mean, I wasn't around that long ago when it first hit, but I want to say it was Fist, but I mean, the first Gundam was a long series, but it wasn't like on the level, like I said, of like One Piece or whatnot. So.
All right, Kenshiro brings up. He's jumped in the chat. He says the reason he says no. He also said not a chance, and nothing's going to rival One Piece in that way. He says the only reason he says no is that they've moved away from that model of in anime production, which
Hmm.
essentially is to say that hey kind of get it in, get it out,
Hmm.
and then move on. Um, I guess the merchandising aspect is definitely one big part of it where, like you said, Bleach is very marketable.
Hmm.
Naruto obviously is extremely marketable, was, for a lot of people over here, the follow up to Dragon Ball as far as
Yeah.
their series that they followed and that sort of thing. So it's really interesting to see, um, moving forward, like how if One Piece is kind of like, going to be, it's kind of goes once it's done, it rides off into the sunset as the last of the super duper long series animes with
Hmm.
an episode count of 1,000, over 1,000 rather. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. Consider also says One Piece is literally the last of the legacy shows from the era of never-ending production.
yeah,
Was also hello to Skylar Wokes over there on Kick. Appreciate you
ooh, hey,
Yeah.
joining us on Kick, and obviously share the love with all of your fellow Kicksters
Oh
and
yeah.
let them know that we're live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Right now, we're talking about One Piece and the awesome episode entitled "Fan Letter." Like I said, I've watched sporadic episodes of One Piece here and there.
Hmm.
The only character that I was familiar with, and this was really just because of somebody that I was dating at the time, had a real affinity towards this character, was Boa Hancock. That's probably the only character that I had any knowledge
Hmm.
of. And from my understanding, she doesn't even come in until sometime down the line. From what obviously, if you're starting with the beginning stuff and obviously the live action, I think she's going to be probably in maybe the third season potentially. I don't
N-
know the sagas and the order and that sort of thing, and which characters come in where, but
it's gonna be a while till you see
I
her.
think, yeah, and that's like I said, that's what I had figured it was going to be. It's going to be a delay before you actually see Boa Hancock. But again, she was kind of the only character that I had any familiarity with. Then I watched this fan letter episode, and it's like, okay, I can see where the appeal of this show comes from. Even though they didn't even have in this episode, they had the main characters there, at least from the earlier sagas,
Mhm.
but they weren't directly involved in this particular story. And that's what made this kind of interesting for me as a watch. It's just like, okay, I've seen pictures of all these different characters. I mean, I know exactly who all of them are, but it's still cool to see that in this story, they're there, they're in the background, they're doing their thing, but the whole story centers on this one girl who, like Dado had mentioned earlier, has a real, love for Nami, the pirate Nami. So it's just kind of like, okay. So it was a fun episode to watch, and even with my limited knowledge of the characters, I still understand the significance of, like, yeah, these heavy hitters basically are in this story. They're just not directly a part of the story. So I thought it was actually kind of a cool way that they did that.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with it. And I really like the animation for it and all that other good stuff. And if all filler was done sort of like this, I don't think we would have a problem with filler. I think we started having problem with filler, like for us with like Dragon Ball, where let's learn how to drive. Like, why the fuck do these motherfuckers need to know how to drive? You can fly. You got another person who can teleport.
Teleport, yeah.
Yeah. So like, why do you need to know how to drive? But I think they did a good job with telling the story, and I hope other producers of anime learn, like, you can make filler and make it interesting.
Yeah. I would say my
You
two
definitely
favorite.
can. Kenshiro thinks that the driving episode is the funniest one. No, go
Yeah.
ahead, Simon. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I would say my favorite two characters are Hawkeye and Brooks. Yeah, Brooks is just
Brooke
fucking
is
hilarious.
hilarious.
He is so hilarious, man. I first saw him, I was dying. I was like, what the? And he kept singing the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. Oh, dude.
And
He
how
cracked me up.
brash he is when he talking about, like, can I
Like,
see
oh,
your
your
panties?
panties.
It's like, wait, dude, really? It was like, is that
It's the
just want
first
to
thing
come
he
off like
said.
that? Like,
The
bro,
first
like,
first thing he said, he came aboard, roll up to Nami. He was like, "Can I see your panties?"
like,
That's
you
it.
need to calm your nerves, bro. Calm down. I mean, we know you got a boner because you're all bones. Ha ha ha
Wow.
ha. I mean, he's a
Mhm.
skeleton character, so
Mhm.
he's a living dead man. Like, that's his devil fruit, is that he can't die, but his flesh all rotted away. So he's just a
Mhm.
skeleton. And he's also a pretty good swordsman.
Mhm.
Not as good as Zoro, but
He's all right.
yeah. Who should play Brooke in the live action? They're gonna get a voice because it's gonna be CG.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do have a question. It was the oh, that's fair. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about for the skeleton character?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Now the question I do have is in at least in fan letter, they had introduced a guy, I guess he was in charge of the Marines, who tough dude, but
Yeah.
obviously has some type of I don't know if it's a crush or whatever on one of the characters, one of the
Tony
other
Chopper.
pirates or whatever. What?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did we lose you?
I don't
Nice
know.
lagging.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So yeah, what was going on with that guy? Like it looked like he was a real tough Marine and in charge of everything, but there was one character that he seems to have a crush on or something.
Yeah, well, he just thinks Tony Chopper is cute. I don't know what the heck. I like Tony Chopper too. I think
Mhm.
he's not my favorite character, but I just think he's just like a little. Even though it's just weird because you just see
A
this
deer.
little, this little deer who people think is a raccoon dog, but it's not a raccoon dog. I don't know, just think Tony Chopper is cute.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like I said, again, it's not it's it's designed to be, I think, a true love letter to the fans that have been around and kind of a representation of some of the fans and how they feel about the characters and that sort of thing. Um, but for me, obviously not being somebody that has watched the series, it was still an entertaining episode. So I mean that just really goes to show the creativity of Oda and his writing style. Um, and also, it's got me interested in at least watching the live action, because that'll be a good starting point for me, who's not seen, obviously all of these various sagas, but at least that'll be something for me to kind of jump into and get a flavor for the world and the way that it is pretty much portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my take on it. So we got a couple minutes left. Any other things you guys would like to speak on, or maybe add to the discussion of long running anime?
Well, I did hear that Monster Hunter Wilds is their open betas coming up.
Upper is a terrifying kaiju. Whoa.
Yeah, he is terrifying. I ain't gonna lie. That little thing creeps me out. Especially, how you like, you can like buff yourself up, but you still a terrified little coward. I don't understand that.
It's an anime trope. All right, Kenshiro says we need more Ippo.
Hajime, no Ippo.
Kenshiro is a big fan of Ippo.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Hand over Meg. Just adding my usual request for us to also go see Transformers 1.
You on your own with that one.
I mean, I want to see it, but
It's trying to
again,
not have history repeat itself with the 1986 bomb of the original.
Mm-hmm.
they didn't put Michael Bay's name on it. They put his name on it. Everybody went to go see it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the. I mean, then again, we do have $5 Tuesdays. Yeah,
What theaters?
we do still have $5 Tuesdays, so that might be one good way to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I work Tuesdays.
That is possible. That is very, very possible. All of the Imagine chains, as far as I know, do $5 Tuesdays. Yeah, no, that's usually the issue for a lot of people. I think that's probably why they do it. It's like, yeah, well, they do.
It does suck that we're not going to see a sequel because of the box office. You got to remember, like movies nowadays, they only want, what they call those. Everything is a tent pole now. Back in the day, you could put a movie out as long as it made more than its budget, then everything was great. Now, if it doesn't like crush its budget, it's a bomb.
Crush your enemies, see them dream before you, and limitations of their women.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I had something too. I want to add. So if there's any like Monster Hunter Wilds players, the open beta for early access is the 28th and through the 30th. If you are PS5 players, the rest you'll get it'll be available on the 31st through the 3rd of November. So, like again, if you're interested and you're a Monster Hunter Worlds fan, go ahead and check that out. Download the open beta, get a feel for what the game's like. I will be definitely doing that later on. Get my hands on the game, and hopefully that'll be something I'm looking forward to down the road.
All right, that sounds good. Appreciate you guys for joining the show tonight. Appreciate everybody that was in chat. Thanks for putting up with the YouTube issues. That was my fault. I apologize for that. Oh, the car looks like it might be complete.
Not with the stickers. There's so many fucking stickers.
Is that a Corvette?
No, this is a I don't know, one of those supercars or whatever. This was my Corvette. I didn't build this and I put the Black Panther in there. Actually, I think I think
okay.
that's I don't know if that's Shuri Black. I think that's Shuri. I stuck her in there, and then I got some other stuff. I don't know this right here what the hell that is, but I like the colors because it's the what do you call that? The Gulf livery, and then this is my this is my Rolls Royce boat tail. That's what they call it. They call it a boat tail, and it does actually come with an umbrella. It's probably the most expensive sedan that they said ever. It has like two benches in the back, like benches. What do they call those seats? Stools when you put champagne and shit in there, and they kind of copied that. We forgot to talk about Dr. Detroit. What do you mean, Dr. Detroit? I'm gonna rip off your head and shit down your neck, Dr. Detroit. It doesn't even take place in Detroit, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it should rip off your
All
head.
right. Well,
And shit
appreciate
down your
everybody for
neck.
coming through. Next week we'll obviously be back same time at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I guess that's 8 p.m. Central and 7. I'm sorry, not 7. 6 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Mountain. So if you want to go through all the different time zones, so yeah, appreciate you guys for joining me on the show tonight. We will come back with an awesome topic. Halloween is next week, so we'll probably be talking about potentially some horror stuff. If you guys are down for that. So once again, I am GQ. Thank you for Simon Says and great got Daida Kuji joining us tonight. We will see you guys next week.